Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Curse of Oak Island find enemies in Canadian government. The guys on the Curse of Oak Island are facing another obstacle. The Canadian government stepped in to try to stop them from excavating on the island. However, the goal was to find underground passages to what they believe is the treasure. Unfortunately, red tape is getting in the way. Here's what is slowing down the search for treasure on Oak Island. Canadian government puts stop to Curse of Oak Island excavation. The Curse of Oak Island saw the team find a possible secret chamber underground around the garden shaft. Doug called Dumas Contracting Lt and hired them to come in and work as excavators to dig them down and into these possible chambers. They believe they found passageways to a possible buried treasure on the island. This led the team to have to wait because it would take 50 days to go down about 75 feet. They believed that they might have just found a series of tunnels and chambers that will lead to the mythical hidden treasure. They also believe that one of the artifacts they found had Viking origin, which dates back even more years than they expected. Now, there is a new problem. The Canadian government said that hiring excavators means that the Langany brothers need a mining permit. While they are not technically mining, it is still red tape that has once again made the government an enemy to the team finding treasure. However, not all fans seemed surprised. One fan took to Reddit to write, "The Canadian government wants to prevent a group of well-documented gold diggers from blindly rebuilding a wooden shaft that goes down an unknown depth on an island where 6 treasure hunters have already died doing the exact same thing, and they're the villains in this situation." The Canadian government has interfered before. This isn't the first time the Canadian government has interfered in the Langany brothers' treasure hunting on the Curse of Oak Island. In 2021, the Canadian government shut down a large part of the dig operations on the island. This was when the Langany brothers team found several centuries-old indigenous artifacts. It happened during Season 9 when the team discovered First Nation Mi'kmaq pottery shards on the island. This caused Marty Langany to say on an episode at the time they would lay low on archaeological methods, waiting for the dust to settle. What resulted from that was just a tightening of regulations for the show. At the time, the Langany stopped regular archaeological methods for alternative digging techniques. They expanded on that this season by using new technology to map out areas under the island, which allows them to find clues and possible entry points without unnecessary digging. However, the excavation brought about a new conflict with the Canadian government. The misty shores of Nova Scotia have long held a secret. Among the salt-kissed trees and whispering winds, Oak Island sits like a silent sentinel, guarding a mystery that has captivated treasure hunters for centuries. It is a place where legends thrive, where whispers of a cursed treasure buried deep within the island's bowels tantalize the imagination. Among those ensnared by its enigmatic allure are the Langany brothers, Rick and Marty, whose relentless pursuit of the truth has transformed their lives into a real-life treasure hunt. But in the shadowy depths of their quest lies an unexpected adversary: the Canadian government. As the Langany brothers delved deeper into the island's secrets, they unearthed not only centuries-old artifacts, but also a complex web of historical intrigue. From pirate treasures to Knights Templar gold, every clue they found seemed to draw them closer to the island's heart, yet the treasure remained elusive. Undeterred, they invested time, money, and heart into their quest, unearthing shafts, deciphering ancient codes, and confronting the island's myriad challenges. However, their greatest challenge was yet to come, not from the island itself, but from the bureaucratic labyrinth of the Canadian government. It started innocuously enough. Initial permits for exploration and excavation were granted without much fuss. The Canadian authorities seemed supportive, perhaps intrigued by the potential historical significance of the Langany's discoveries. Yet as the brothers made strides and their discoveries began attracting global attention, the atmosphere shifted subtly but unmistakably. Requests for new permits were met with increasing scrutiny, and regulatory hoops multiplied. What once seemed like a straightforward adventure morphed into a tangled negotiation with governmental gatekeepers. The Lagina brothers, seasoned by years of entrepreneurial endeavors, recognized the shift but remained undeterred. However, their team soon found themselves facing an unexpected obstacle: the sudden appearance of stringent environmental regulations. Ostensibly for the protection of Oak Island's unique ecosystem, these regulations imposed severe restrictions on where and how the team could dig. The brothers, respectful of the environment but suspicious of the timing, couldn't shake the feeling that something more was at play. Their suspicions were confirmed when they discovered that their excavation sites coincided with rumored burial sites of invaluable national treasures. Documents unearthed from Canadian archives hinted at a hidden history: treasures secreted away by fleeing British loyalists during the American Revolution, gold reserves hidden during the War of 1812, and even ancient Indigenous artifacts of immense cultural significance. It seemed Oak Island was more than just a treasure trove. It was a repository of Canada's clandestine history. The stakes had escalated dramatically. If the Laginas were correct, their discoveries could rewrite significant chapters of Canadian history, potentially exposing uncomfortable truths and igniting fierce nationalist debates. It was no longer just a treasure hunt. It was a potential Pandora's box that the Canadian government might prefer remained closed. Publicly, the government maintained a stance of cautious support, emphasizing the importance of preserving historical sites and ecological balance. Privately, however, the brothers began encountering a series of increasingly sophisticated obstacles. Their funding was scrutinized, their permits were delayed without explanation, and their equipment faced mysterious malfunctions. It was clear, powerful forces within the Canadian government were working against them. Undeterred, the Laginas rallied their team. They leveraged their growing popularity and media presence to shine a light on their bureaucratic battles. The History Channel's The Curse of Oak Island became more than a show. It was a platform through which the brothers could communicate their struggles to an international audience. Viewers, captivated by the unfolding drama, began to question the government's motivations. The pressure worked, to an extent. Faced with public scrutiny, the government eased some restrictions, allowing the team limited access to new dig sites. Yet the message was clear: tread carefully. The Laginas, ever the astute strategists, knew they needed allies. They reached out to historians, archaeologists, and environmental experts, building a coalition that could advocate for their cause from multiple angles. With their support network expanding, they began to navigate the treacherous waters of Canadian bureaucracy with renewed vigor. Then came the breakthrough. In a deep shaft near the island's notorious money pit, the team discovered a series of underground chambers filled with artifacts spanning centuries. Among the relics were documents bearing the seal of the British Crown, Indigenous artifacts of significant cultural importance, and chests of gold coins. It was the most significant find in the island's history, but it also intensified their troubles. The Canadian government, faced with undeniable evidence of the island's historical and cultural significance, moved quickly. New, more stringent regulations were imposed almost overnight. The Laginas found their access to the island severely restricted, and their finds were swiftly claimed by the government under heritage protection laws. The brothers were left with little recourse but to comply, their life's work effectively commandeered by the state. Yet Rick and Marty Lagina remained undaunted. Their quest, they realized, was about more than treasure. It was about uncovering the truth and sharing it with the world. They turned their focus to advocacy, working to change the laws that had stymied their progress. They partnered with Indigenous groups to ensure the cultural artifacts were preserved and honored appropriately, and they lobbied for greater transparency in how historical finds were handled. In the end, the Curse of Oak Island evolved from a treasure hunt into a crusade for historical truth and justice. The Lagina brothers, having found formidable enemies in the Canadian government, transformed their struggle into a cause that resonated far beyond the shores of Oak Island. Their story became a testament to persistence, courage, and the unyielding human spirit, proving that some treasures are worth fighting for, no matter the cost.